This is our news, the weekend edition. And on the broadcast tonight, is the country becoming too reliant on international aid for its reconstruction efforts? Find out the views of the Christian Council president. More contracts to be issued to help speed up the cleanup process in ABACO. Plus, we get public reaction to labor concerns at the point. And then later on, where in the world is Wally?
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Topping news tonight, Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop DELTON Fernander says the Bahamas is relying too heavily on foreign aid for the reconstruction and recovery of islands devastated by Hurricane Dorian. The BCC leader said while the international help has been vital, he believes Bahamians can do more to help. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
The Christian Council president says he believes there is so much more Bahamians can do.
We need a day to volunteer, and rather than counting on the international partners to help us, let's help ourselves.
His comments came after a pledge conference organized by the United Nations Development Program and the MINNIS administration raised $1.5 billion in pledges. The $1.5 billion in pledges includes a $975 million loan from U.S.-based the P3 Group, Inc. If accepted, the money would be repaid with interest. Prime Minister MINNIS said on Thursday that the government will decide which pledges are best for the Bahamas and the communities impacted.
The unmitigated fact is that we need tremendous financial help because the $1.5 billion is nowhere near the $4 billion, and that's probably not even including labor, transportation, all the other little things that take place. And so all we could do is take the scraps. In the Bible, we've seen good examples where God will help us even with the little pieces. And so for me, I know it sounds trite, but let's start with the small things that we could do. Let's go down, move debris, let's go down, repair roofs, let's go down, because you go in certain areas and you're seeing international partners doing this. I think it's now time to see us doing this.
Hurricane Dorian slammed into ABACO and Grand Bahama in early September, leaving behind widespread devastation. Officials estimate that Dorian caused $3.4 billion in damage. Fernander says given the scope of the devastation, Bahamians have to do more.
It is a massive task. Almost $4 billion is the estimate by the same UN. We thank God for all of the help we've gotten around the world. And we wait to see how we can mobilize. It's not going to happen fast. Somebody informed me that after a storm in another part of the world, it almost took 5 years for a nation to recover. And so we are hoping that that timeline be faster, but realistically we know it's going to be a slow walk. And we want to methodically, as a country, continue to focus on those that are affected. And let's put all hands on deck to help.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness, Management and Reconstruction, Carl Smith, has revealed that new or additional contracts may be needed for the cleanup of ABACO. Smith said the debris removal process in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian has been slow.
As we evaluate the work that is going on, we may have to re-strategize. And there's quite a bit of debris still to be removed. And yes, those contracts are being revisited, and we, through the authority, will engage other entities, look at their capabilities, and issue new or additional contracts.
Nearly 5 months after the storm, debris is still a significant concern for Abaconians. In addition, Minister of Disaster Preparedness, Management and Reconstruction, Iram Lewis, said last week that some shanty towns were still not finished being cleared. He also said people are still living in the Farm Road shantytown. Asked about concerns that foreign companies are being brought in for cleanup and reconstruction purposes, Smith assured that all international companies are required to partner with local companies.
Everything that we do in the rebuilding of the Bahamas from Dorian foreign or international companies that come in, we are insisting that they partner with local Bahamian companies in every instance, because we need the knowledge transfer, the technology transfer.
Hurricane Dorian leveled parts of Abaco and Grand Bahama in early September, leaving at least 70 dead and thousands homeless and displaced. United Nations Assistant Secretary General Dr. Luis Lopez Calva said earlier last week that the UN's partnership with local organizations has resulted in the collection of 1.7 million metric tons of debris on Abaco. Well, the Ministry of Health is vigorously refuting claims made in a video on social media and also written statements by Anglerston MP Glenys Hannah Martin in a letter to the editor of the Nassau Guardian. It is alleged that there are some 80 to 90 bodies which have been thawing due to inadequate cooling, resulting in a stench. The ministry says the claims are baseless and inaccurate assertions. In a statement, the ministry confirmed that there remains 51 deceased persons being stored in a refrigerated cooler adjacent to the Marsh Harbour Clinic. It also notes that at this time, there are no remains being stored in the built-in morgue coolers. The ministry adds that the claim of a stench, fresh or old remnants of bodily fluids at or around the trailer, and suggestion that there are unusually large population of flies attracted to the trailer are pathetic falsifications. The ministry maintains that the integrity of the remains have been verified by its pathology team as of Friday, January 17th. To date, of the 55 Dorian-related deaths recovered in Abaco, the remains of 4 persons have been identified and released. Well, 4 months after Hurricane Dorian caused utter devastation on Abaco and Grand Bahama, tourist arrival numbers are still on a sluggish trend back to normal. That according to Minister of Tourism Dionisio. He spoke with our Kyle Joaquin.
What we're finding is that as you look 2, 3, 4 months into the future, the numbers reveal that our projected tourism arrivals are down.
The tourism minister said it's been a difficult task getting the world to know the Bahamas is still open for business, even 4 months after Hurricane Dorian. The world watched in awe as the Category 5 storm pummeled Abaco and Grand Bahama, leaving devastation in its wake. Since then, Diagler said the Ministry of Tourism has gone into overdrive to spread the message that there are still many islands to visit. But it's been hard.
Obviously, Hurricane Dorian was a public relations nightmare for us. Everybody was reporting in Nassau primarily that the Bahamas is being destroyed. And so we had to sort of, counter that message. We had to go silent for a while because we just couldn't fight the tide of negative stories. So then we bounced back with our open for business. Much of the tourism infrastructure is unimpacted. Nassau is where 75% of our foreign arrivals start their vacation.
Despite that effort, he said the bounce back has been sort of sluggish, with numbers not as high as they should be.
I'm just saying that as we get closer to the month, so if I look at January on the 1st of November, so if I look on November the 1st, 2019, I look at January 2020, it's showing me the numbers are down. Then I go to the 1st of December, the decrease has gotten smaller. By the time I get to the 1st of January, my projections are either flat or positive. That's what I'm saying.
As for projections for the next few months of 2020, Diagler said there's some sign of an upward trend.
As you get closer to that month, the negativity of the numbers turns into flat or positive. And so what is that telling me? That's telling me that as foreign visitors learn about the Bahamas being open for business, learning that 90% of our infrastructure has been unimpacted by the storm, they are booking again, and our arrival numbers for a particular month are going to flat to positive. So people are booking later, but they're booking. So I'm very encouraged that our tourism arrival numbers are trending back.
He told Our News that while air arrivals in particular may not be where they should, cruise ship arrivals have shown the most promise so far.
We're doing gangbusters on cruise arrivals. With the opening of Coco Key and with the opening of Ocean Key by MSC in November, our cruise arrival numbers are just high single-digit growth every month, even immediately after the storm. So the Bahamas is still a very, very popular destination for cruise.
For Our News Weekend, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyle. Well, some Bahamians are expressing concern over revelations that the $200 million POINTE development in downtown Nassau features more foreign workers than the heads of agreement calls for. Jared Higgs tells us while many describe the situation as unfair, at least one person thinks differently.
I think it's wrong. I think they should stick to whatever was agreed to. If 70% was what was agreed to, Bahamians, I think they should do that. They should just get the Chinese out quickly, quietly, to just get them out. We have a lot of Bahamians that need to be employed, and I think that it's wrong. The Chinese are taking advantage of us, taking advantage of everywhere, undeveloped countries, and I think we need to get them out.
That was the general reaction of most people who our news spoke with about the amount of foreign labor employed at the downtown POINTE development. Earlier this week, Director of Labor John Pinder revealed that instead of the development employing 70% Bahamians, as per the heads of agreement, it is actually employing more than 70% foreign labor, mostly Chinese. CHARLTON Tinker is a general manager at a financial institution, and he wants Bahamian workers to be prioritized.
We have a lot of Bahamians that need to be employed, and I think that it's wrong. The Chinese are taking advantage of us, taking advantage of everywhere, undeveloped countries, and I think we need to get them out.
Yeah, I think it's wrong. It should be more Bahamians. They should go over the heads agreement again and deal with the drink.
Diamond Hall is a retired mother of three. She insists that large, powerful countries like China can fend for themselves.
They have already established themselves. We are a new country, a young country just upcoming. I think the government needs to invest in its people and stop bringing in foreigners to take our money out of the country. That's why we're in the dilemma we are in today.
Some insist, though, that a skills gap is the reason that Bahamian workers are often overlooked for foreign labor. Karen Ferguson is a civil servant, and she had harsh words for Bahamian workers.
I think Bahamians have become very lazy. So, I mean, looking at, if I'm an owner of something, I want it to be done quickly and efficiently. And not to say that our Bahamians won't do it, but I think they're just a little lazy.
I don't agree that all our Bahamian men and women are lazy. I think that certainly there's a category that fits, but overall, people are looking for work. The Chinese can take care of themselves. Let us take care of our people.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jared Higgs.
From the crime beat, a man spent the night behind bars after he was found in possession of dangerous drugs at the Lyndon Pinley International Airport yesterday. The Bahamian man who checked in for a flight to Philadelphia was selected for a secondary search by U.S. Customs, and his checked-in cooler bag was recalled. When officers searched the bag, they claimed they discovered 2 packages of suspected cocaine weighing 4.4 pounds with a value of $30,000. The man is expected to be arraigned in a magistrate's court sometime this week. Meantime, a woman is in hospital in serious condition, suffering from burn wounds she sustained in what appears to be a domestic dispute. We're told a man and a woman were at a home in eastern New Providence around 7 this morning when they got into an argument. That's when the man reportedly threw a hot liquid on the woman, causing burns to her body. Paramedics transported her to the hospital. Investigations continue. We'll still ahead tonight find out what the opposition leader has to say on the Marijuana Commission being moved to the office of the Prime Minister. That's coming up when Our News, the Weekend Edition, returns.
Check. So all you've been doing on this court was traveling. When you see me travel to go watch my free NBA pass game, I can come back out and smoke it. Spicy.
Free NBA pass.
You know what Rev doing? Each month they send a lucky customer on an all-expense-paid trip to the States to watch a game. And even if you don't win that, you could have a local experience because they could pay for all your food and drinks and participate in bars, so you still have a good time, bro.
I can get in on that.
All you have to do is sign up for Trio and you enter the drawing. Ferrari, don't lie.
Get denied like this guy, make sure you come through in the clutch. Sign up for Trio and be a Rev NBA All-Star. Guarantee your chance to win a free trip to an NBA game every month when you sign up for Trio today. Call 601-8992. Terms and conditions apply. Rev, you and us together.
Next tonight, opposition leader Philip Davis is questioning the decision by the Prime Minister to move the Bahamas Commission on Marijuana from the Ministry of Health to the Office of the Prime Minister. Davis says a government of transparency and accountability should not be so concerned. Our Berthany McDormand has the story.
On the sidelines of the Hurricane Dorian pledging conference, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert MINNIS said he was very disturbed and upset that the preliminary report by the Marijuana Commission was leaked to the Nassau Guardian, noting that it compromised his cabinet and the commission. This prompted him to move the commission from the Ministry of Health to the Office of the Prime Minister. Opposition leader Philip Davis questioned this move.
It is just the hypocrisy of this government. On the one hand, they say they're open and transparent, but on the other hand, they want to hide information from the public. And he is the lead culprit in that. That's why he's going to take the report from the Minister of Health and keep it in his bosom.
In July 2019, the CARICOM Regional Commission on Marijuana recommended the declassification of marijuana as a dangerous drug in all legislation and the reclassification of the drug as a controlled substance, noting it should be treated similarly to tobacco and alcohol. 1 month later, Cabinet approved the formation of a commission under the purview of the Ministry of Health, tasked with examining the issue of marijuana in the Bahamas in order to make recommendations to the government. The commission was initially given until April 2019 to submit its findings to Cabinet. However, it was granted several extensions. Davis said MINNIS should not be concerned about the workings of the commission.
Why is he concerned about about the workings of the commission and the report they're going to make? Why is he concerned about that? Isn't he about transparency, accountability, and ensuring that the public knows what is happening? So what is it? He wants to hide the report from the public. He doesn't want the public to know the factors that the commission was taking into account.
The report proposes that individuals over 21 should be allowed to use marijuana for recreational purposes and anyone over 18 for medicinal purposes. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
When our news, the weekend edition, comes back from the break, the cinematographer behind Where in the World is Wally shares his thoughts on the concept and production of the show. So stay with us.
Check. So all you've been doing on this court was traveling. When you see me travel to go watch my free NBA pass game, I can come back out and smoke it. Spicy.
Free NBA pass.
You know what Rev doing? Each month they send a lucky customer on an all-expense-paid trip to the States to watch a game. And even if you don't win that, you could have a local experience because they could pay for all your food and drinks and participate in bars, so you still have a good time, bro.
I could get in on that.
All you have to do is sign up for Trio and you enter the drawing. That are don't lie.
Get denied like this guy, make sure you come through in the clutch. Sign up for Trio and be a Rev NBA All-Star. Guarantee your chance to win a free trip to an NBA game every month when you sign up for Trio today. Call 601-8992. Terms and conditions apply. Rev, you and us together.
The Financial Services Board has been awarded for its outstanding promotion of financial services in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Dorian by UK-based publication International Investor. The global award recommends institutions and top companies from around the world and rates them on their ability to remain steady in delivering first-rate service, opportunity, innovation, and performance. BFSB Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director Tanya McCartney said it was an honor to receive the award.
Obviously, their reach is global, and so it was competitive, but it's based on feedback from their subscribers and individuals who they have contact with in the investment and financial services space around the world. So this is excellent news for us, as the primary mandate of BFSB is really to tell the Bahamas' story as to why we are the clear choice for international financial services.
She added that a delegation from the BFSB and the Ministry of Financial Services traveled to New York in September last year, 2 weeks after Dorian, to spread the word that the financial services sector remained open for business. McCartney said the briefing with advisors and professionals demonstrated in a real way that only 2 islands were affected, adding that support was needed to bring aid to those islands.
For some time, I would say that persons wanted to know what approach the Bahamas was taking, as legislation had to be implemented very quickly. And so the response to us going out was very good because it provided certainty. We had the minister attending with us who was able to speak to the government's policy commitment to being a well-regulated jurisdiction, because people don't want to be on doing business in jurisdictions that are on adverse listings.
Bahamian audiences will get a chance to see a folklore tale come alive when Where in the World is Wally premieres on RTV this Monday. The show is the first in a series of locally produced content coming to our TV lineup this season. Bahamian producers, actors, and content creators are providing an outlay of locally produced material. The series takes the tale of a missing Bahamian man and the stories of his sightings in different destinations around the world. Behind the scenes of this production are dozens of local technical experts. One of them is Jackson Petit, the cinematographer. He recently shared with us his thoughts on the concept and the production.
I think, considering the kind of show that we're trying to create, it's a sort of it's a mini series. Like it's like I think it's 10 episodes. So I'm thinking about in terms of how we can sort of create sort of like a benchmark for people to try and aspire to, right? In terms of the kind of quality of show we're trying to create. And also thinking about how we tell real stories that the Bahamian audience can relate and connect to. We need to see more of ourselves on screen, because I know the content we see all the time, either through the various streaming media and that kind of thing, is content that we wouldn't necessarily see of us, right? So I'm thinking of how this can, we can see more of ourselves. We take for granted when we see a final product, we don't know the enormous work that goes behind the production in terms of planning, pre-production, all that sort of prep work, and also in terms of how much we work on, even on the day of the shooting, on the day of set, right? In terms of what lighting have to be used, blocking, rehearsal, and then actually shooting, right? Sort of like a lot of the technical requirements required for that, for the project to actually happen. I think when we see the final project, we don't really think about that. I think having this conversation so people can understand our process is important. I think as a cinematographer, one of the biggest things is figuring out your lighting package, right? What lighting package you're going to use on a set. Because I think with some productions, I noticed that lighting is not necessarily a primary focus, and I'm always trying to figure out ways how I can use light on set, how I'm going to light my characters, how I'm going to light the subjects, how I'm going to use it to shape the mood and the style of the show.
We count down the most memorable quotes of the week. That's coming up when our news, the Weekend Edition, returns.
Wally, I cannot run this bar without you. I can't run this bar by myself. Where are you?
Finally tonight, it's that time when we take a look back at the most memorable moments of the week in news in our Quote of the Week segment. Coming in at number 3 is opposition leader PHILLIP Davis, who slammed the $975 million pledge by P3 Group. Davis pointed out it's not really a donation.
first of all, if it is a loan, it is not a donation because we have to pay it back. Right? When you speak about donation, we're talking about grants, we're talking about aid and assistance. I mean, under what conditions are the funds amounting to 900 and plus million, what conditions are we borrowing those? We have to pay it back. So it can't be a donation.
Well, the Prime Minister hit out at critics who raised questions about the pledges received by the government at its recent hurricane pledging conference. His comments take the number 2 spot.
I have noticed some confusion in the public sphere as to what a pledging conference is and what these commitments mean. Unfortunately, some who were not present at the event seem very confused and very poorly informed. Had they informed themselves, they would not have made silly, confused, and uninformed statements in the press.
And our quote of the week also belongs to the Prime Minister, who slammed the recent leak of the preliminary report from the Bahamas National Commission on Marijuana.
I was very disturbed that the report had leaked out. I was very disturbed because it compromised my cabinet colleagues and myself. The press made statement, they asked us questions, we could not respond because we didn't see it. We were not privy to any leaked document. We were waiting for the official document, so we were compromised. So I was upset.